Yo, what's up everybody? My name is Marquise Terrell and you're watching my story. Yo, what's up everybody? I know you guys have been asking and very curious about my testimony, and I said to you guys, I'm gonna give it to you guys. But let's start from the beginning. My name is Marquise Terrell Douglas. I'm from Brownsville, Tennessee. I was born in Brownsville, Tennessee. My mom and dad had me out of wedlock. And with that, my parents got married, and my father decided to go to the military. So my father decided to go to the military, and we traveled all over the world, from Japan to Hawaii to Korea, Virginia, North Carolina, Florida. And with that said, I became a young man that was very cultured. I'm the oldest of three, and I have some adopted brothers and sisters as well. But in the beginning, we didn't have any of that. So I've learned to be cultured. I went around the world learning Japanese, learning different customs, like in Hawaii, going to luau's and everything. And so that made me a person that was cultured and learned a lot of things, different food sets and all that. So learning that and still being in God and learning God and traveling and doing a lot of things, I came to God at a young age, at the age of 10 years old. I said, Mom, I want to be baptized. She was like, you sure you want to be baptized? I said, yes, Mom, I want to be baptized. I want to be saved. So I got saved at the age of 10. And so I got baptized at the age of 10 as well. You know, dipped down in the name of Jesus. And so growing up in church, it helped me develop in my culture, develop me in just knowing God. I've known God all my life, but I really didn't have a real relationship with God. And so I grew up over the years, you know, doing this and doing that, going to church services, going to Bible study, going to Vacation Bible School, having a mindset to just be a church boy. Y'all know how it is being in church all your life. But when I got home, it was different. But as I was young, we would go to family friends' houses after church or after Bible study and chill, and I got molested. I got touched as a young kid. And so that right there was my first interaction of being sexual. First of all, I did not know what it meant to be sexual. And it was to the point where we would play hide and go seek, you know, under the covers or under the bed or behind the house. And so I was touched by a family friend, and therefore under the covers, he would just touch my genitalia. And so I was like, okay, I don't know how to feel. I don't know what to do with this feeling. And so how do I cope? How do I handle it? Do I say something or do I not? For me, I didn't say nothing because I thought that's how it should be, because that's all I knew. If I said something to expose somebody, I didn't want nobody to feel bad. So I kept that, and it kept on going for years and years and years at a time. But it came to a point where I grew up as being a young teenager that we stopped doing it. And so I suppressed those feelings of dealing with, you know, men sexually. And then I grew up and I, you know, go out, go to high school and date this girl and date that girl. Those relationships were cool and fine. But on the back of my head, I was still having that desire, or still having that inclination of, you know, what if I did go seek out someone, you know, of the same sex? You know what I'm saying? And so it helped. It didn't really help me to really come to the truth of the reality that I couldn't do it like that. But I allowed my feelings to suppress it, so I didn't deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Even though I was curious, even though I had thoughts, I didn't focus on that. So I suppressed that. Moving forward, I went to college. You know, being a PK, being in church all day long, you can't smoke, you can't drink, you can't listen to secular music. I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, couldn't dress like this, couldn't have long hair, couldn't have dreads, couldn't have piercings. So I felt like, man, what is life without living life? But I'm still in my parents' home. And so I lived in my parents' home, and then it was time for me to go to college, and I'm like, yeah, let's go. I'm ready, I'm excited. So I get to move to DC. We lived in Virginia at the time, and I moved down to DC, and therefore I was going to the Art Institute of Washington to get my culinary arts degree. I wanted to be a chef, so I was like, this right here is the right place at the right time to get my degree. You know what I'm saying? And so going to parties and meeting new girls, having sex with this woman and having sex with that guy, but now I'm acting upon my feelings. Now I'm doing what I want to do. Yeah, now I'm in it too deep that I can't get out. I remember I was dealing with one young man, and I wasn't really feeling him, but somehow along the lines, we went to a party, and I got drunk, and I started to, you know, flirt with this girl, and then I was flirting with this guy, and then I found myself more persuaded to reach and get to know him than her. And so I allowed the stuff that was deeply in me, rooted in me, to come out. And I was like at a place where I didn't care. I just wanted to have fun. I just wanted to be free. I just wanted to do what I wanted to do. And so I acted upon that. Moving forward, I started just belligerently dating men, doing this and doing that, having sex, drinking, doing drugs, just turning up and not caring. And so it got to a place where it got so crazy that I got kicked out of my college dorm room because I had a big party. It was like Southeast people coming from this party, and came into the apartment. It got to the place where I got kicked out of college. Yeah, got kicked out of the college, and I was like, okay, God, this is a warning for me to understand, like, you have your hands on me, but I'm not really trying to focus on what you have for me. I just want to have a good time. And so I got kicked out, and I had to move back home. See, when moving back home, I had to go back through the same structure on how I live my life. You know what I'm saying? Going back to church, doing all this. And I was like, oh, okay, here we go. Okay, God, I know I'm not like everybody else, so now I know you have your hand on me. And so I grew coming back home, and then had the opportunity to go back to school, but it was a college near my parents' house. And so I went to Stratford University, and I finished getting my degree there, thank God. So after I got back home, I couldn't go out like I wanted to, so I suppressed those feelings even more. Still acting like I'm straight, still acting like it was okay, still acting like nothing's wrong with me, but I was still dying internally because it was the stuff that I hid from my people that I couldn't operate and be my true self, I thought at the time. And so I get to a place where I go to this service and I met this young lady. She was attractive. Don't get me wrong. Even though I was doing what I was doing, I still love women, you know what I'm saying? I just didn't have a deeper connection like I wanted to because it was so hard to like get to know them, be in a relationship, and then I guess having relations. I know it's kind of crazy. My mind shouldn't have thought it like that, but I did at the time. And I had to realize that God had to do some pruning on the inside of me. So I decided to get married. I got married to this young lady. Met her at a worship service. We build. I'm focusing on her. But at the end of the day, I was still dealing with some stuff on the back of my head. Like, I'm still attracted to men. I still want to do this and I want to do that. And so I suppressed it. But then once I got married, it seems like as I committed to one person, it was hard for me to just stay focused. And so I would have conversations, not doing anything, but having conversations, and that stuff would pull back the scab of something that I thought I'd killed, but actually it was still there. And so I went through hard times in my marriage trying to figure out how to handle this and how to do this and how to do that. And I found myself wanting to be with a man. And so with that said, make a long story short, not to tell everything, but to tell a little bit, I allowed my mind to take me to a place that I shouldn't. I allowed my mind to perpetually play with my mind to pull me to the sinful nature of what I didn't think that was, you know, that I didn't think it was nothing wrong with, that I did. And so I found myself moving from Virginia to Florida. Moving to Florida, it got so bad that in my relationship with my wife that it didn't work out. So I moved, and it got into a place where I started to be in a relationship with a man. I moved to Florida. I was going to Ty Tribb's church. I was one of his, people that were working with the church team, cooking and everything. And so I was perpetuating a behavior, and I found somebody from the church that I went to because they were down too. And so me connecting with that person, by the way, as I met that person, I was, selling my body for money. I was smoking. I was drinking. I was having sex parties. I was being just selling my body for services to make money. And so that right there had me going to a downward spiral because the issues I was having with my wife and the issues that I was having in my inner self. And so those issues that I was having in my inner self, I didn't want to deal with it. So I started to suppress things with the things that I like to do. don't y'all know that when you suppress things, it will bring out the hardships of you not understanding why you're doing it because you're doing it. And for me, I was just going by, coasting, saying I'm okay, but I was dying spiritually. And so I was in this relationship with this man, and he was in college. I got kicked out of my apartment that I had because I allowed my sinful nature and not going to work and being low on bills and not paying it on time. And so I met this guy parallel to my name. We started building a relationship. And even with that, I built a relationship off of somebody that he was talking to than I was talking to. It was just weird. It was just so much chaos. But I had to realize that being in that relationship, it had me compromising even the more, because not only was I in a relationship, but I thought about marriage. Not only wanting marriage from him, I thought that this was going to be my happy ending. And so it had me crazy in my mind, thinking that this was going to be my forever love. And so making that, starting from being with him, even being married, and then all the way 5 years later, and then moving from Florida to Texas and thinking that I'm gonna be great, to the point where, oh my God, we 5 years in, we about to get married, about to do this and do that. But then comes along the times where I moved there and my business stuff started booming. I started getting more jobs. I started making more financial security in the relationship. And then jealousy started to come from him. He said, why you feel like you can control things because I have money? And I was like, it's not that because I have money. It's just the aspect of I'm handling everything. I feel like I can do it. But at the end of the day, it came off of very combative and very toxic. And I was like, God, there's something on the inside of me that's making me feel something different. And I don't know if I should stay in this relationship. Make a long story short, we broke up. And then I had an opportunity to do this show, like I told on a previous video, Chasing Dallas. How many of y'all know that once you're still in sin and you're thinking that something's gonna be better for you, the enemy like to play with your mind and say, do this because it might be exposure for you? Make a long story short, I did the show and it exposed me for all the wrong things, all the wrong feelings, all the wrong motives, because they wanted drama more than they wanted my brand. They wanted a character and not knowing the real me. It showed me that even in that experience doing a show, that I had to learn self-love. I had to learn that God has a purpose for me, and I had to learn that I had to come out of a lifestyle that was full of sin. And so doing that, it just started getting crazy. Then I started being promiscuous and trying to find love in all the wrong places with other men. To make a long story short, God had to get me to a place where I lost everything. When I say lost everything, I mean the house, almost the car, almost even the job, even the opportunity with the clients when I used to cook for. He took all that away and showed me that, yo, you can't do this without me. I allowed my lifestyle, I allowed how I looked to get me to a place where I made it idol, when God had to get me and get me on my feet and get me on my knees and say, God, I surrender. And so that's how I started to come into realization of, okay, I gotta change my life. So I broke up with him, then I started being promiscuous with other people, but God had to get me to a place where I had to stop. And so I allowed me to take some time to myself. It's like, okay, God, you have your hand on me. You have a plan for me. So God, deal with me in the way you need to. So I gave God a new yes. I remember I called my mama. See, this is the thing. My mama is a gospel gangster. She loves God, and God speaks to her. And I didn't want to come and open my mouth, because this is what sin would do. Sin will have you close your mouth and try to be on the low when everybody knows your issues. But I realized that if I open my mouth and tell my mom that, Mama, I'm dealing with this, I need to come out of this lifestyle. I've been doing it for so long. She already knew, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we have to have. You gotta have people around you that know your purpose and your plan before you even know at times. And so I called my mom and I called my family. I was like, I'm done living this lifestyle. I'm losing everything. I don't know what to do. And so I had to humble myself and get on my knees and ask God to forgive me. And therefore, that it was like a Wednesday night. And then so that Friday, I was like, I'm gonna need to come and get some prayer. My mom said, come over, we're gonna pray over you. When I tell you deliverance happened, when I say I was set free, I had to denounce that stuff off my life, because that stuff opened doors and to other things. Even though I was living in homosexuality, I had pride. I had rebelliousness, and you know, Bible says rebelliousness is unto witchcraft. And so I had to tap in and let God know that even unforgiveness was a part of it. Even rejection was a part of it. Even the things that I didn't think that was a part of it was a part of it. It was a chokehold on me. And so I had to open my mouth and denounce it. I had to open my mouth and say, God, set me free. Heal my life, heal my soul, heal my mind. God, I want to be in right standing with you. And so that helped me understand that even in my process of deliverance and even walking in right now, I can truly say I had to give it up. I was living, I allowed two masters, the master of the world and God, in the same body. It don't work like that. I was walking in delusion. I was acting as if I was okay when I wasn't. It's kind of funny how you thinking that you're okay and then you were trying to help other people. No. God wants you to be healed and whole. And so that helped me understand that he had greater things for me if I only make a decision to let it go. I don't know who's hearing this. I don't know who's watching this, but I want you to understand in your decision making, by wanting to be free from the things that hold you bound by the things of this world, give God a yes and he will change your life. Okay? So be encouraged. That's my story. Now I'm walking in freedom. Now I'm happy. Now I'm smiling. Like I got peace. Like back in the day, I used to have sex with everything, but now and didn't have no peace. But now I have peace living for God. Every day is a new journey. Every day is a new challenge. But even in a challenge, God said he'll never leave me nor forsake me. And I want to challenge you guys to stand on the word of God and proclaim his goodness, because he can bring you out if you allow him to. All right, this is your brother, Marquis Sorrell. Until next time, we out.